Me now to help explain all of this is climate scientist and distinguished University of Pennsylvania professor Dr. Michael Mann. He is also the author of Our Fragile Moment: How Lessons from Earth's Past Can Help Us Survive the Climate Crisis. Professor, great to see you.
Thanks, Frederica. It's great to be with you.
Okay, so this forecast is rather troubling. Should we largely attribute it to climate change, or is there something else that's playing a role here?
Yeah, there's a role of natural variability and a role of climate change. It's a combination of the two things. Natural variability, we're coming out of an El Nino event. It's part of why global temperatures were unusually warm compared to recent years this last year. El Nino is this warming in the tropical Pacific. It changes wind patterns over North America and the tropical Atlantic. We're coming out of El Nino and going into the opposite state, La Nina, when the tropical Pacific is cooler than normal, and that actually leads to less vertical wind shear. Wind shear, that's changing directions or changing wind speeds with height in the atmosphere, and that makes it very difficult for a hurricane to form. When you have less of that vertical wind shear, it's a more favorable environment. So we're going into La Nina, more favorable environment, and those sea surface temperatures in the tropical Atlantic are bathtub warm.
Oh, gosh.
And they're bathtub warm in substantial part because of human-caused warming, the overall warming of the oceans around the world. And this summer in particular, the Atlantic is very hot.
Oh, my. So when forecasters say expect more storms, how many more are we talking?
Well, we're predicting a record, a new record. The previous record was 2020. There were 30 named storms. That means you exhaust the alphabet. You have to go into the Greek alphabet to start naming those storms. There were 30 in 2020. We're predicting anywhere between 27 and 39 storms, named storms this year, with a most likely number of 33 named storms. That would be a new record.
And are there any, forecasts that kind of place the target zones for any number of those, 27 to 39 storms? Is the technology sophisticated enough to try to make that kind of forecast yet?
Yeah, it turns out when you start talking about like how many major hurricanes or major landfalling hurricanes along the east coast of the U.S., how many of those are there going to be? You're dealing with the statistics of small numbers. There are typically only a few of those in any given year. And so it's much harder to sort of create a statistical model that's reliable to get at those very specific quantities, like how many major landfalling hurricanes are we going to see. That having been said, when there's more activity overall, all else being equal, we expect a greater likelihood of those major landfalling hurricanes. And so it's something for us to be looking out for. We better be prepared for an unusually intense hurricane season this year.
Yikes. Okay. It's always frightening, any hurricane season, but now it's especially, and those fears and concerns are being heightened with these kinds of forecasts. Professor Michael Mann, thanks so much.
Thank you.